Jess, you were talking about The Crown, and for some reason that made me think of Matt Smith. And one thing that we really haven't touched on much is House of the Dragon.
Well, we've watched it all the way through.
Gosh.
Yeah, we finished that one.
Wow.
There were some like incredible performances there. I mean, I had made the comment on my social media that I don't know, we were about 3/4 of the way through it, and I said
about Matt Smith's back hurting.
Yeah. Matt Smith must have some gnarly back problems from carrying this entire series.
Yeah.
Matt's fantastic.
God, he was incredible. And you know what? When we first started with this,
it was just the anti-hero. He is
like very much an anti-hero, but it was like he looks so silly to start off with the wig.
Mm-hmm.
And they even admitted that like he was the one that was the most difficult about putting the wig on every time they would have to do a scene or like he would have his part or whatever.
Yeah.
But he killed it, man.
Yeah, he did.
And then Patty at his last episode where he was like forcing himself to falling apart with leprosy, forcing himself to go up to sit down, and then makes the entire family come together.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win something for that,
I agree. Totally agree with that. I don't know. I mean, I think I was more bought into it a little bit than you were, Brock. Correct me if I'm wrong. It kind of, I mean, Brock enjoyed it, but I think I kind of bought in. I got the feeling I bought into it a little more than you did.
It's the Game of Thrones syndrome that really those last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones was so that they were so bad to me that I mean I loved that show so much, and I was into it. Then the last 2 seasons happened, and I'm like, I never want to see this crap again.
You gotta let it go.
And then we watched House of Dragon, and I'm like, okay, this is a little bit better. I'm stomaching it a little bit more, a lot because of Matt Smith. We've met him and love him dearly.
Yeah.
And
even though some people we know says he looks like a foot.
Rookie.
Well, the good thing is, though, one of the things that they said was that the creator said is, or the showrunner, that we won't have any more fast forward things where we change actors again. That's not going to happen anymore.
All that
was really disjointing.
The time jump was terrible.
Yeah.
In House of Dragon, but
the actors that they went to are phenomenal. I mean, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I understand now that I've seen all of it, I understand why they had to do it. I get it. It makes sense. It's just a lot of times we would miss a lot of their life.
Yeah.
Because of the time jumping, we're like, whoa, how did you get? She got 2 kids now. What the?
Wait a minute. Those 2 got married, and then
really?
So
yeah.
But I've enjoyed the first season, and it's really gonna. I think the second season's really gonna pick up as far as going into the Dance of the Dragons, the Targaryen Civil War. So that's where all this is when we pick up in the second season. We're gonna see how they fire all this off.
I will make a bold statement and say I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I did at Rings of Power.
I still gotta watch it.
Not watched it.
Rings of Power it's pretty good, but that show unfortunately suffers from bad scripts all across the board, and herky jerky time movement, and it's almost like I really hate to make this comparison, especially since you just mentioned it, Brock. But you know how we had that weird time dilation jump stuff in like season 8 of Game of Thrones, where you would have where they could move from one end of the world to the other, and and then sometimes it would take them they have that weirdness with Rings of Power on some things, and it just really bothered me a lot about it. The actors and everything, they deliver the lines well, but it kind of has that syndrome about it a little bit. So I'm really hoping that with the next season they tighten it up. But it does have a really, really good, if not fairly obvious, reveal at the end of the season that is pretty amazing. That will lock you into wanting to see the next season. But it's definitely worth a watch for sure. I mean, if you had to compare the two, House of the Dragon just blew Rings of Power away, in my opinion.
If I could say something too, because I realize that it's been a month since we've all sat down to do the podcast, and
maybe if what I think you're about to talk about.
I'm thinking maybe you know where I'm going with this because we were just talking about Matt Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But can we? Because my brain just clicked on this. Speaking of Matt Smith, let's
we finally watched an episode of Doctor Who with Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor.
What?
Yeah. So this is where I was going with it. Was this what you were? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh man, when I heard that Tennant was going to be, I was like, okay, I'm
there's your spoiler warning, folks.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's Doctor Who.
It's all over the internet, guys.
Yeah.
I knew about it before the episode dropped.
Yeah,
so.
because everybody.
Russell Davies is taking back over. He's now showrunner again. Chip Knoll is out. Yeah. Davies is taking over,
and it's going to Disney Plus.
Yeah, and it's the thing is Doctor Who's resetting. Is basically Tennant's coming back, and he's the reset Doctor. Mm-hmm. He's going to reset it, and then we're going to get a new Doctor after that.
I know these teeth.
Oh gosh!
Yeah. Oh man!
God, it was so good.
It's a great way to include that he's older versus it's been over 10 years or more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said, as soon as I saw that trending, I had to find the video online, and I was like, okay, I haven't really cared about Who in probably about 4 or 5 years, and this has gotten me dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have not watched since Capaldi's second season.
Mm-hmm. I watched all of Capaldi, loved all of Capaldi's.
We love Capaldi.
That man so much.
Yeah,
love Capaldi, but it got to. I mean, we didn't even get to Clara ending her ending on the show. We never made it to that, and it just got to the point where it's like there were a lot of things going on in our lives at that time.
Yeah.
And it just we dropped off.
Yeah.
And I never cared to watch Jodie Whittaker. Because I hadn't finished Capaldi. I wanted to catch up. And so because I never caught up, I didn't care to watch her. And then we're sitting there on that Saturday that it aired everybody who's over in England gets a jump start on it. And all of a sudden it's trending.
Mm-hmm.
It's trending. And I'm like, okay, I looked and I'm like, oh, seriously. I knew he was coming back at some point.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden Tennant's trending on social media. I was like, okay, we're gonna have to watch this tonight. So that was the first episode of Jodie that we had seen, and I thought it was a fantastic episode. She did a great job, and
it was a really good episode.
It's not enough for me to want to go back to watch the rest of her stuff because I've heard differing opinions on her entire run, but this episode rock solid.
I will tell you, in my opinion, the issue with Jodie wasn't with Jodie. It was the same problem they had with Capaldi. They can't write for him. The writers didn't know how to write for Capaldi for season 8, which is why he was so rough. Once they just talked to him and figured out, and then we got him coming out in a Roman Coliseum on the Abrams with his guitar, with his sunglasses. It was like, okay, this is Capaldi. They never got to that point with Jodie Whittaker. She had the personality for it. She had the drive, but BBC was more concerned with agendas.
Yeah.
They wanted to show agendas. They wanted to show social commentary. That was the big deal. It wasn't so much for the story. They would get a good story started and they would stop it and put an interstitial episode in there about a social agenda, and it would just disrupt the whole story flow. And then
right. Because watching her in that episode, I agree with you that the personality was amazing. And just her interacting and stuff. I mean, I thought that was great. And
they were more about social agendas with her. And it was unfortunate. It was more like, look, we have a female doctor now and we want to show you. And by the way, here's another female doctor we want to show you. And it's like, we get it. Let's treat them all the same. Let's not treat them special. Treat them all the same, and it's perfectly fine. It's not that I have anything against having women or any other minority, anything. It doesn't
matter.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Just bring us a really good doctor, bring us a really good story so that we can watch it and have fun. We don't care about agendas.
Well, it's back. They had sci-fi and all this stuff had these cool stories in it, and it was when you learned it yourself rather than when they beat you over the head with it. And that's when it means more.
Yes, you have to breadcrumb people to it instead of beating, lobbing you over the head with it and going, this is very obvious.
I mean, Star Trek Next Generation is is one of the perfect examples of that.
Yes.
Yeah. if you want to talk about that,
I mean,
things like that.
look. I mean, I know I've talked about this on the show before, but the Orville, the Orville just did another season. They can pull that off now. I mean, Next Generation, like you just said, they did it and they did it well. But granted, some of that stuff's been 35 years ago.
Yeah.
The Orville now, like they literally just did a season just that was filmed like 2 years ago. If they can still pull that off, it can be done.
Yeah.
It's just getting the correct focus with the showrunner. And that's one of the reasons I think Chibnall decided to step away. I don't think he really knew how to run it.
Yeah, but
because
it was Russell Davies being back involved in this.
Yeah.
And
well, I guess seeing that, and also the next Doctor, I can't think of his name. I don't want to mispronounce it, but him asking what the heck is going on here has got me excited for his Doctor.
Yeah,
I mean, that's that whole entire exchange just for the trailer for it and everything. I mean, but I mean, I got excited for it because my favorite season of Doctor is still going to be Tennant and Donna. That season will be forever be hard to be topped.
And Donna is,
and now you got 3 episodes coming up.
Yes.
See, that's why I wonder how they're going to work in it, because if she remembers him, her mind will burn. But I wonder if it's because he's the 14th Doctor, not the 10th Doctor. Is that going to be the loophole?
Maybe so.
Well, and one of the best things about having Russell T Davies back, there's a really good chance we'll have at least 1 or 2 episodes by Stephen Moffat.
Yep.
Yeah.
If we get Moffat, I love how dark he gets with his episodes. And he really didn't, he didn't really come around for any of Jodie's stuff. That was all Chibnall.
Yeah.
So we got Weeping Angels or something. I mean, come on. I mean,
we
had Weeping Angels.
I want to say what Tennant has 3 specials for him, don't he?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
What I loved about that special was it threw me back to that Dragon Con for you and me, Bo, where they had Sylvester McCoy and Peter Davidson. And Bo and I had a picture made with both of them at the same time. And man, that's still one of my all-time favorite pictures from Dragon Con.
I love it. Like, so that was that whole sequence with all the previous, what they call the Doctor versions of the Doctors, but I mean, because you had, like I said, I can't think of his name, the one playing
It was Colin Baker, wasn't it?
Colin Baker, Patrick. No, I'm sorry.
I mean, it hits on all of the original Doctors, and then the Master comes in, and he's wearing like different pieces of all the different Doctors.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
This is amazing.
I sat there and picked apart his costume that entire time.
You got pause it, and you're like, is that one from this one? That one? And believe it or not, Brock, when I was watching that, the first thing I thought was like, Brock probably had a field day with this.
Yes.
Oh, he probably loved this to death.
Jess will tell you. I sat there. Okay, there's Peter's celery. Yeah,
all the stuff woven into it. Yeah,
like he's wearing Jodie's coat. Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is like you can tell this was Davies. This was his thing because it felt right. And I mean, it sounds like I'm dogging Chibnall. I don't think. There were several episodes of Jodie's of her run that were good, but they were like singular episodes. I think where he struggled was keeping the continuity, keeping it going, and coming up with some really good stuff. I mean,
we've had
there are episodes you can go back and think of, like Blink.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you'll never forget that one. I forget the name of the episode, but the one where the Doctor was having to escape from the confession dial, and he had he spent millions of years punching Diamond to get out of it.
Yeah, Heaven Sent Hell Bent. Yeah, that was one of Capaldi's greatest episodes. I think that's the season y'all missed out because that was towards the end of with Clara.
Oh my God, man!
Okay. And then
when she realizes how long he was in there, doing that, they're like, all he had to do is tell us all he had to do is confess. Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm not going to confess. So he spent millions of years in this confession dial. Yeah. It's just crazy.
I had an absolute fit whenever Ace brought her jacket out on that special. Because first of all, when they showed her, I'm like, oh my gosh, Ace is in this, because I cosplay as the 7th Doctor. I've got his outfit. I'm like, oh, there's Ace. And then she bust out the box out of the floor, and there's her jacket and
her bat,
and she gets to talk to that version of the Doctor.
Yes. Yeah. Did y'all see? Did y'all ever catch the post that Georgia Tennant did the day after, or around the time that this was premiering. She had posted a picture of her and David, and it said daughter of 5, girlfriend of 10, wife of 14.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hashtag power of the doctor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh my. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Don't you guys love how this show flows? We just go from one thing to another, guys.
Yeah.
By the way, these last 3 or 4 things we've been talking about weren't even on our agenda.
No, that's why this episode's going to be called Talking Turkey, because it's right before Thanksgiving and we're just shooting the breeze.
Like I said, a full buffet of topics here.
Also, it is episode 42. Does that make it the answer to everything?
That's right. Well, it is. Exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a lot of faith in where Doctor Who's going now. I mean, if anything, because Davies is back.
Yeah, it's got me excited for it again.
Well, I mean, I was reading earlier that Davies, I mean, granted, this has been a couple of months back, but Davies and Moffat did a joint interview together, talking about what, alluding to what they might be going to do. It's the first time they've ever done a joint interview together, ever. So, I mean, this is huge. And they're already talking about, like, Jess mentioned earlier about they're moving this to, streaming to be in Disney Plus. They're already talking about making this more like Marvel. Instead of Doctor Who being more like, as a campy television special kind of thing, where it's like a episodic thing, to being more like, we're going to start doing more specials. So the actual focus and just the budget of
some of my
Doctor Who,
some of my favorite episodes have been the specials.
Oh, the specials are great. Yeah. Specials have always been great.
I will say one of the worst things about when I first binged, back when I was married, we finally sat down and decided people had beat us down and were like, okay, you guys got to watch Doctor Who. I'll never forget watching Doctor Who on Amazon Prime. And Amazon Prime is like Internet Explorer off in the corner eating paste when it comes to like organizing how those get together.
They've recently updated their user interface. And
it's better now. They basically finally figured out just do it like Netflix.
But I know what you mean. Those early days Amazon Prime, yeah.
So basically the reason that it was a problem for me when we were watching it was we would watch, like, let's just say we would watch Chris X season or whatever, and then Chris X didn't really get a send off because everyone assumed he was coming back, and then he was like, I've got problems, and then they just went straight to Tennant. But when you went from Tennant to Matt Smith, that there's a transitionary special episode that happens there, like it's usually like the special. Amazon Prime didn't have them in order, so we would watch them, and then it's like, who the heck is this, and why is he wearing his stuff? We didn't know until I went back later, and I was like, oh, it would have been super awesome if I had seen that, because
it was the Christmas special that always where they
transformed, right? Yeah, that's where they would make the change.
I want to say there was
they had them all in like one season by themselves.
Yeah,
and like me as a a new watcher, I had no idea that I needed to do that. I needed to watch them that way.
There was like 1 or 2 episodes. I want to say there was like that. And then they had like the Waters of Mars / movie episode. And I say, the End of Time. End of Time is my favorite because
there are so many just incredibly profound stories in Doctor Who that I'm just talking about 2005 plus. I don't know a whole heck of a lot about the older Doctor Who. Because I really haven't watched I know there's some good stuff there I've heard, but I've never really sat down and watched a lot of it. But just in the reboot Doctor Who, just the amount of stories is incredible. And think of all the cool stuff that Davies has probably come up with in the time since he's stopped as a showrunner. Man, this is gonna be incredible. This is gonna be incredible.
I mean, like I said, if anything, you ever go back, watch a lot of the Tom Baker stuff. Oh man.
Yeah, Tom's good. And I just love Sylvester McCoy.
Oh, Sylvester's is great too. Yep,
I love Sylvester.
Is the I forget his name, the actor, but the one who played Davros, is he still around? I know he's kind of be getting on up there because he was Davros for a long time.
I don't know if the original actor, but I would say you're talking about the one that played him for the reboot, the restart of the series. Yeah. I'm sure there'll be some very Dalek heavy episode.
Oh, yeah, we gotta have Daleks, man. That's like his main enemy. His primary enemy. Yeah.